All right, this is from Garden to Greenery DIY irrigation system setup. All right, come with me to the store. We about to get this four-way shut off and this Beehive Wi-Fi timer real quick. Once we get the packaging home, we bust the packaging open, read the instructions real quick, and get to the assembling. If you can see, there's just a timer. It's pretty simple. Once we get the timer and the four-way shut off ultimately assembled, we're gonna take it outside. But first, we gotta download the app. You should be able to find on Google Play or any particular app store. At this point, we're just gonna download the app. It's gonna take a little while, but hey, here we are. The app downloads, and once it installs, you're gonna essentially have to create an account. Once you create an account, you'll be able to get into the app. And then you're gonna ultimately pick your device. Once you pick your device, you're gonna plug in the Wi-Fi dongle. The Wi-Fi dongle ultimately has to get updated, so we're gonna go through a syncing and updating process. It's gonna find the device. Once you find the device, you're gonna update your firmware. You can see I'm gonna be pretty bored through this process, so you'll see me walking around. I'm gonna set up my account, sync my account to the Wi-Fi setup. You're gonna see I'm gonna rename the Wi-Fi dongle, and it updates the firmware. Walk, walk, walk. Alright, so now I'm getting connected to my Wi-Fi at the house. We're connecting to the actual timer. Now I'm gonna rename the timer. You're gonna see I'm just gonna name it timer. Pretty simple. Timer home. Connected via Bluetooth. And then that's also gonna do a software and firmware update. As we wait, we're gonna listen to some cool steel pan. Now that the update is complete, it's connecting back to the device again. And then we're gonna do a calibration. The calibration is essentially going to take the number of seconds that transpire in combination with the number of gallons to get the flow meter rating. And now we're all done. It's time to take the four-way and the timer and connect it to the water pipe. This is where the source is coming from. We're going to screw it on real quick here. And voila. See that it fits on pretty tightly. Then we're going to make our measurements from our flower bed or from a raised bed garden and kind of figure out how long and how much tubing we need to complete the task. So then we pick up a few things from the store. We need a couple menders, we need male fits, and we need the female fit. We need a couple sprinklers, we need the lawn and garden hose and the circle hose. So we're then going to essentially connect all the tubing or hose to each one of the four ways. So we're starting off with the first one. This one is going to go to the raised bed garden box. We're going to swing it around a couple of these planters. Make a quick little adjustment. Make moves. Alright, so we got another planter here that we're trying to get around. Oh, I got a phone call. This happens sometimes when you're working, but you got to continue working. Alright, swinging around another planter, and you can see that I have a guide here that I've planted in or staked into the ground to kind of just guide the tubing up to the raised bed garden. Here I have a mender that I'm attaching to the tube. Once you attach the mender, kind of push it in tight. That way you can make sure that it's in there secure. You want to essentially connect the rest of the tubing to the mender. In this particular case, I'm using a soaker hose to kind of get all the different areas of the raised bed garden. I don't want to use too much but at the same time, I don't want to use too little water. So soaker hose, kind of met my need in terms of being able to reach each plant, but also have enough water. Here you can see I have a sprinkler that I'm trying to stake into the raised beds. And here I'm trying to route that tubing to the four-way. Once I get the four-way kind of connected using another mender, I get the mender screwed into the four-way, and we're gonna do some testing. You can see that the sprinkler is staked. All right, we're gonna turn it on. Usually you have to kind of turn it on using the manual setting on the app, and you can kind of see I have a leak here, so I got to put a washer in there. I'm kind of testing all the different connections to make sure that everything is working properly. You can see that here in the sprinkler I also have some leakage, so I'm also going to need a washer there. You can see here's I'm unstaking the sprinkler and putting the washer into the sprinkler. It's a little bit of a process, but I'm getting to it. And now you can see the results. The sprinkler's hitting a couple of the other pots that I have set up, needing for the strawberries and the potatoes. But ultimately, I'm hitting the spots that I want to. But I think, we have to make some adjustments. I think it's wasting way too much water. So I intended to buy this micro sprinkler. This micro sprinkler essentially is going to give us a little bit more direct access to each one of the planters that I have standing up. There's about 4 of them in my yard, so I also have potato bags and strawberries that I want to hit. So you can see that I got the tubing ready. I'm going to try to route the tubing to the right spots, and once we get the tubing to the right spots, we're ultimately going to get us connected. But I have a challenge here. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to ultimately try to get each one of the needs of the planters fulfilled with the least amount of tubing, rerouting, and excess waste. So I'm doing a little bit of a makeup, making some design changes, but I think they're good design changes. They're allowing me to conserve more water, get better water access to the plants, and I think that just in general, just able to really just do a better job instead of focusing on, the things that doing big and bad things, and just more micro level and very minute usage of water. So you can see again, I'm kind of just using this two-way, setting up the two-way, working on the micro sprinkler, and getting all the tubing set up. There's a few stakes and another part to connect the tubes. I got to get the two-way attached to the timer tubing, so you can kind of see that I'm trying to funnel and figure out what really makes sense. But the tubing that I had didn't work, so I had to go to the store, get some more tubing. It wasn't long enough, so here I am opening the tubes, trying to get access to some longer tubing. And you can see here, making an easy attachment, and then gonna make a quick cut. Once I make the cut and measurement, you'll see that I'm now trying to attach the two-way to the four-way. I'm making a quick tightening adjustment and make a quick cut. Once I make a cut, you'll see that I'm making the male attachment and adding that to the tubing, so that I can actually add the two-way to the four-way shutoff valve. I use the four-way shutoff valve because, again, I can shut off each zone if I want to when I'm gone. I've got one zone that's actually attached to a manual hose so that I can hit the other parts that I'm not hitting. And then now I can actually do the micro sprinkler. So I've attached the micro sprinkler to all the different standing spots, and you can see that I've got one of the micro sprinklers actually working and hitting, but it's hitting way too much. So I'm going to turn it off and readjust it. And you can see now that I've changed the heads. It's actually hitting some of the plants that I've actually planted in the planter, and it's actually pretty good water flow. You can see that I've routed the tubing directly from the timer, and you can see that I've got the strawberries flowing. This one's a little you can see that there's a pretty good flow going in all the planters, and I got the soaker hose going. Soaker hose is doing really good. I got them wrapped around each one of my plants. Plants are babies, so you can see we're going to be doing some experimenting in these stages. Thanks for watching.